complex interplay of global forces on the geopolitical chessboard. We'll explore how the long-standing India-Pakistan conflict has become an unexpected nexus for China's strategic intelligence gathering, and how these regional dynamics are deeply intertwined with evolving U.S.-India trade relations, particularly under the shadow of potential Trump-era tariffs. Our focus is on understanding these interconnected events and their far-reaching implications. Let's begin with China's strategic calculus. At its core, Beijing views the India-Pakistan conflict, and especially flare-ups in Kashmir, not as an arena for direct intervention, but as an invaluable, real-time intelligence-gathering opportunity. Why? Because China considers India a long-term strategic rival. This rivalry manifests in ongoing border disputes in regions like Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh, increasing maritime competition in the Indian Ocean, and shifting geopolitical alliances, with India drawing closer to the West through partnerships like the Quad and defense ties with the US and France. Therefore, any escalation between India and Pakistan offers China a front-row seat to observe Indian military deployments, technological capabilities, and crucial command and control behavior under duress. A key component of China's intelligence gathering is its formidable eye in the sky. Its space-based intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR, capabilities. China possesses an extensive satellite constellation, including the Yaogan series, which is second only to that of the United States. These satellites provide high-resolution optical and radar imagery, likely offering real-time data over conflict zones, such as Kashmir. This allows Beijing to meticulously track troop movements, air sorties, and infrastructure deployments along the line of control, and to study vital logistics chains and command responsiveness under wartime stress. Beyond space, China employs sophisticated listening posts and maritime surveillance. From its border outposts and dedicated stations in Tibet and Xinjiang, China can conduct signal intelligence, SIGINT, and electronic intelligence, ELINT, intercepting Indian military communications and radar emissions. By observing India's electronic warfare tactics, including jamming techniques and encrypted communications, China gains critical insights to refine its own countermeasures. In the Indian Ocean, Chinese fishing vessels, many of which are widely understood to be part of its maritime militia, actively shadow Indian naval exercises. Their mission is often to collect acoustic signatures of Indian naval assets, like submarines and destroyers, and relay real-time positioning data back to the PLA Navy Command. Another crucial intelligence vector for China is monitoring the performance of its own weapon systems operated by Pakistan. Pakistan's military utilizes a significant amount of Chinese-origin hardware, including the jointly developed JF-17 fighter jets, HQ-series air defense systems, and various naval platforms like Type 054 frigates. Any combat use of these systems provides invaluable real-world performance feedback to China. Beijing can assess their effectiveness in contested airspace, the performance of radar and targeting systems, and identify potential maintenance issues under operational strain. This is a classic intelligence gathering method, similar to how the United States and Russia have historically learned from proxy conflicts where their allies deploy their military technology. Now, let's shift our focus. While these regional tensions and intelligence activities unfold, another significant dynamic is at play: the advancing trade negotiations between the United States and India. These talks are not happening in a vacuum. They are influenced by the broader geopolitical landscape we've just discussed, as well as domestic economic pressures and the distinct possibility of new Trump-era tariffs. Recent developments indicate notable progress in these U.S.-India trade discussions. High-level engagement has been key, with India's chief negotiator recently meeting U.S. trade officials in Washington and reporting good progress towards an initial agreement. This includes a willingness from India to open its markets in politically sensitive sectors like agriculture. Perhaps most significantly, in a bid to expedite a deal and preempt potential tariff hikes by the Trump administration, India has reportedly offered to cut its tariff gap with the U.S. by as much as 2/3 on certain goods. For example, potentially reducing an average gap from around 13% to under 4%. This is a major concession. Interestingly, U.S. officials have described India as a relatively easier negotiating partner compared to some others, attributing this progress partly to India's strategic imperative to foster closer ties with the U.S. amidst the prevailing regional tensions. The timing and potential impact of new tariffs from the Trump administration are a critical factor driving these negotiations. President Trump and his advisors have been explicit that higher tariffs on key allies are not just about trade balances, but are also tools to bring home manufacturing and renegotiate security deals. This strategy is now being applied to India alongside other nations like Japan and South Korea. There's a sense of urgency, as President Trump has hinted that the first tranche of these new tariffs could take effect in just a few weeks. This places a firm deadline on the U.S.-India negotiations and clearly incentivizes rapid concessions from New Delhi. These trade dynamics are inextricably linked to broader geopolitical shifts, particularly the deepening alignment between the United States and India. The ongoing tensions in South Asia, especially with China's assertive posture, underscore India's increasing reliance on U.S. intelligence sharing and defense cooperation. This situation is accelerating strategic initiatives like the Quad, the security dialogue between the U.S., India, Japan, and Australia, and fostering more joint military exercises, all aimed at balancing China's growing influence in the region. Furthermore, Washington appears to be leveraging a security trade nexus, effectively blending economic and strategic agendas by linking favorable trade outcomes to enhanced security cooperation, such as intelligence sharing on China. This approach aims to solidify India's role as a key counterweight to Beijing. Concurrently, we observe the strengthening of the China-Pakistan strategic bond. The intelligence China gains from the India-Pakistan conflict reinforces its position as Pakistan's principal arms supplier and indispensable strategic partner. This is cementing a Sino-Pac axis, which serves as a direct counterbalance to the growing U.S.-India collaboration. The net effect of these moves, China exploiting the conflict for intelligence, the U.S. leveraging trade for strategic alignment, is a significant rebalancing of South Asia's security architecture. The region is visibly shifting towards a more pronounced bipolar dynamic, a U.S.-India bloc on one side and a China-Pakistan alignment on the other. In conclusion, the India-Pakistan conflict, beyond its inherent dangers, has become a multi-purpose lever in a high-stakes geopolitical game. China is adeptly extracting frontline military intelligence at virtually zero direct risk, using these insights to refine its own military strategies and technologies. India, navigating these complex regional pressures, is deepening its strategic partnership with the United States, partly through making concessions in trade negotiations. And Washington is skillfully using the threat of tariffs and the promise of security cooperation to both achieve its economic goals and strategically align India as a counterweight to China. This intricate convergence of security and economic instruments is actively reshaping the geopolitical landscape of South Asia. The coming weeks and months will be critical as potential new tariffs take effect and both trade and security pacts are finalized, all under the long shadow of cross-border hostilities. Thank you. We can now take